Well, guys, 2017 has been a wild year, and it is coming to an end. This will be my final video of the year, so let's make it a good one as I highlight the best of professional wrestling for 2017 with my own personal opinion-based best of awards for the year. So if you get mad at my selections, keep in mind this is based entirely on my opinion and no official governing body or voting system, and it's based entirely on the things I saw and experienced. So keep all that in mind before you get mad. But yeah, with that, let's get started. We've got 10 categories, and let's start off with Tag Team of the Year. Now, my selection here might surprise you. A lot of really good tag teams this year. If you look at WWE, you know, the Hardys came back. The Bar has done really well. The Usos have done really well. New Day has worked really well with the Usos. You've got you know, this weird pairing of Aiden English and Rusev and the Fashion Police that have seemed to have gotten over pretty well. You have the Bludgeon Brothers, who seem to be a new great bludgeon, you know, bruiser tag team for the WWE. And then if you look at NXT, they've got teams like the Authors of Pain, Insanity, and the Undisputed Era, and they had DIY and the Revival at the start of the year, which Revival actually came back, which is good. It's a shame that an injury kept them sidelined for most of the year because they are just tag team gold whenever they're around. And then if you look at companies like Ring of Honor, you've got the Motor City Machine Guns and the Addiction and War Machine, who I'm a big fan of. And then in New Japan, you've got like Roppongi 3K, who've come on very nicely, and the Gorillas of Destiny, who I think are cool as hell, and LIJ, who are cool as hell. So there's a lot of different tag teams to choose from. I'm going to go with a team that I've been very critical of in the past. Matt and Nick, the Young Bucks. Now, my criticism that their matches are repetitive spot fests. I feel like they've somewhat fixed that. It's still there a little bit, but I feel like they've somewhat fixed that this year. If you look at their matches with Roppongi Vice, their ladder match with the Hardys, which was a big match for Ring of Honor, probably the Ring of Honor match of the year. If you look at even just at Final Battle, the six-man tag they had, they were changing things up and not just doing a random spot fest with a super kick party. They're actually doing different things to change it up, and that's good to see. Because they're too creative, I think, and too charismatic to just do the same thing in every single match. And that's really what tipped the scales in their favor when I selected a Tag Team of the Year. They embody the entrepreneurial spirit of the independent wrestler. They have created a brand for themselves, they merchandise themselves and sell themselves in a way that they really don't need WWE. Even things like the cease and desist. You know, they get a cease and desist order from WWE to stop using the Too Sweet sign. Okay, we'll make t-shirts out of it. And we'll make a new finishing move. Just to be dicks. And just to sell ourselves. They've carved a very nice identity for themselves. I think they're charismatic as hell. And I think it's good that professional wrestling has guys like that. Guys that are able to carve their own identity, forge their own path, and make a name for themselves. And it's, like I said, it's great to see. And they've proven themselves to be worthy of being called the elite of the Bullet Club, or part of the elite of the Bullet Club. So, yeah, Matt and Nick, Tag Team of the Year. That's my pick. Female Superstar of the Year. This one was a little bit tougher than Worst Female Superstar of the Year, but women's wrestling has obviously been a big focus of both the WWE and even in various other promotions. And then you have Lucha Underground, which hasn't worked with the men. So, yeah, there were definitely a few different ways I could have gone with this. I think Ember Moon has had a breakout year. I think Nikki Cross has had a breakout year as far as NXT is concerned. WWE, I think Alexa Bliss has proven herself to be a good, you know, holder of the championship. I think she's a great heel. Not all of her matches have gone well, but I think as a character, I think she's carved a nice identity for herself. I think even Peyton Royce and Billie Kay have done well. And in TNA, they do have Rosemary, and I think Rosemary is at least an interesting character for them to promote. And then in Lucha Underground, you look at friggin' Taya, who was amazing this year and did some really great things during Season 3, proving that she's probably a better investment than Sexy Star would be, considering how Sexy Star ultimately is. She's probably not going to be back for Season 4. Just my guess. But there are a lot of female performers to choose from. And then you have like the old standbys like the Sasha Banks and the Charlottes and Becky Lynch's who unfortunately got hurt. Those type of things. But oh, and you also had the Mae Young Classic, which was won by Kairi Sane. So I could go with her as well. But I'm gonna go with Asuka, the undefeated champion from NXT, who ultimately moved to the main roster and is doing quite well in WWE. It makes a very nice attraction for the women. So yeah, Asuka, great look, believably tough. Had some really good matches this year and left NXT the unstoppable force, and hopefully will continue being an unstoppable force on the main roster for WWE for a while. But we'll find out more as we're getting the first ever all-women's Royal Rumble match, which that's going to be a weird-ass pay-per-view. It's basically just going to be Royal Rumble, Lesnar triple threat match, and then Royal Rumble. That's basically going to be the pay-per-view. It's like, how is that going to fly? You know, I talk about overusing a gimmick. Maybe they should have just given the Royal Rumble to the women if they wanted to do that instead of, like, I don't know. It's going to be hard to do 2 Royal Rumbles in one night, but I'm not averse to do... They always come in 3s, but... yeah, I'm not averse to doing something different. We'll see how it all goes. But, I mean, apparently Vince McMahon is looking into doing another football league. So, 2018 is going to be very interesting. Okay, that one didn't come out. Okay, I thought we were going to get a 4th one, but no. But, yeah, we're getting a football league apparently in 2018. So, God only knows what's going through Vince's crazy mind. So, yeah, Female Performer of the Year, I'm going to give it to Asuka. Largely because of the great work she did in NXT. And that leads me to Male Superstar of the Year. And this is a weird category because the answer is easy. But there's a lot of guys that had great years this year. You look at Kenny Omega, who has become a megastar. Probably the most popular wrestler outside of the WWE. Most popular guy who's never been in the WWE. You've got Cody Rhodes, who left the WWE and has become an even bigger star and has done very, very well for himself. Again, I talked about it with the Bucks, but just embodies the entrepreneurial spirit of the independent wrestler. You've got Johnny Mundo, who did some of his best work with Lucha Underground in Season 3. I know it was taped in 2016, but we didn't see it till this year, so I'm counting it as part of this year. And, you know, he's a big part of AAA. He's a big part of Impact Wrestling right now. And he's basically, you know, heading into Season 4, he's going to be the big name. And if that preview is indicative of anything, it's that he's going to be a major focus in Season 4. So, yeah, I think Mundo's done very well for himself. Morrison, Impact, whatever you want to call him. Tetsuya Naito is... I mean, it's amazing to me the way he's risen and the way he's taken over for Nakamura and done insanely well over there in New Japan. And him main eventing Wrestle Kingdom is well-deserved. Hiroshi Tanahashi has been a standard bearer for years and years and years and is still delivering in a big way. It's amazing the work that he's done. So there's like a ton of different guys I could have given Superstar of the Year to. And yet, my selection is easy. I don't even have to think twice about it. Kazuchika Okada. The man, the ace, the rainmaker of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The longest reigning IWGP World Heavyweight Champion of all time. Has had a body of work this year that rivals any year in professional wrestling. Like, you look at the body of work of, like, Shawn Michaels in 96, or Triple H in 2000, or Flair in 88, or Angle in, like, 2002 or 2003. I mean, AJ Styles in various years of his career. Bret Hart in 94. I would put Okada's year up against any of those, because it's not just him having great matches, and he's had some outstanding matches. He is having different, engaging, and exciting matches with varying different talents. The way he works with Omega is completely different from the way he works with Suzuki. The way he works with Suzuki is completely different from the way he works with Shibata, or Bad Luck Fale, or Evil, or anybody. He just continuously has great match after great match after great match. And you look at the 3 matches with Omega. The championship match with Suzuki, the G1 match with Suzuki, The big championship match with Shibata. I mean, Okada has just been amazing this year. His match with Fale was great. He's just had an outstanding year, and, you know, he topped the PWI 500 for a reason. He's just been absolutely amazing and totally worthy of the push that he's been given. So, when I had to think Superstar of the Year, there was an easy pick. It's Kazuchika Okada. The guy is charismatic, he's exciting, and he has amazing matches, and, he's second to no one right now. He's just killing it. So, from there, let's move on to my favorite moment of the year. What was my favorite moment? Or I guess favorite segment would be another way to say it. And I'm actually going to give it to a WWE one. I'm going to give it to the Festival of Friendship from Monday Night Raw. Kevin Owens turning on Chris Jericho after Jericho put on this magnificent display glorifying his friendship with Kevin Owens. It was beautifully done. It was perfectly done. WWE typically screws things like this up, but this was done to absolute perfection. When I did a video about it, I said it was the best segment that Raw has done in years. Possibly since the CM Punk pipe bomb shoot. And that was a shoot. This wasn't like... This was written, created, and executed perfectly and advanced the angle. You hated Owens when it was done. You felt sorry for Jericho when it was done. And it was wonderfully done from start to finish. And reminded you why you loved the pairing of the two. And then how upset you were when it was taken away from you by Kevin Owens. So it was just perfectly done. My moment of the year, without a doubt. But that kind of leaves me with this this category right here. Spot of the year. What am I going to pick as my spot of the year? And as I've gotten older, the major highlights, like Shane jumping off the Hell in a Cell, which he did again this year, don't leave as much of a mark on me as like little nuances that help tell the story. Things like... Oh, I don't know. Things like Bayley taking off her headband in the Bayley versus Sasha match in Brooklyn. Little character moments that just put the extra flavor on a match that really put it over the top. It's the little things that matter. It's the little details that get over. So my spot of the year is not going to go to some death-defying stunt. It's not going to go to a major high spot. It's going to go to a very simple moment that completely sold me on the story that the match was telling. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega at Dominion. The hour-long draw. At the very end of the match, Okada goes for the Rainmaker, and Omega collapses. He's so exhausted for being in there for almost an hour. He collapses, and Okada flies across the ring, missing the clothesline. And, you know... His body giving out on him actually saved him from defeat, as it turns out. And that spot said so many things. It was so simple and so well sold by both parties that it was just such a perfect thing. And again, I got the entire story that they were telling just from that one spot. It's like they've been in there an hour, they're exhausted, they've been killing each other, and Omega's body just finally gave out just as Okada was getting ready to give the kill shot. It was perfectly done. I've never seen anything like that in an hour-long match. As I've said before, most hour-long matches start slow and then build up. This one was brilliant because it started fast and heavy and then slowed down as the guys got more tired. I think that was perfect and the way to go. And I love that spot. I just thought it was a terrific spot. You just don't see stuff like that. So, favorite feud of the year. And I had quite a few options here. Which feud from start to finish did I enjoy the most? There were a lot of different ways I could have gone with this. There's obviously Okada versus Omega and the trilogy that they had that was outstanding and well spaced out throughout the year. There was Tanahashi versus Naito, with Naito winning the IC title and then destroying the belt, and Tanahashi having to get revenge for that. That was great. You had the Owens-Jericho feud, which I mentioned had the segment of the year. That was outstanding. And then if you look at Lucha Underground, they had two of the best feuds of the year, I think, with Phoenix versus Marty the Moth Martinez, and one other one that I am going to give #1 feud of the year. Killshot versus Dante Fox. It was something that had been planned through all of Season 3 of Lucha Underground, with Killshot has a backstory. He has, you know, cohorts in war that... were lost. He couldn't save them. One of them survived, comes back for revenge. blaming Killshot for him being left behind, but Killshot is actually very sorry about what happened, and so it's like the ghosts of his past coming back and haunting him. And I think what sold it for me were some of the segments that they did to really hype the story. There's one of those great cinematic segments that Lucha Underground is known for, with Dante Fox running outside the temple and Killshot staring him down. But while Dante Fox is running, he has flashbacks to being captured and tortured. So it's like you get a full understanding of the character's motivations with no dialogue. And it was terrific and one of the best things that Lucha Underground has ever shot. And it all culminated in an outstanding blood match that pretty much stole the show at Ultima Lucha. A show that spread out over 4 weeks, and it pretty much stole the full 4 weeks. So you had two characters with backstories and a conflict. You had the middle and the build-up, which was slow throughout the season, and then you had the payoff, which was outstanding. So, as far as feuds go, and again, I could have gone a lot of different ways with this, but I'm going to go with Killshot and Dante Fox, because I thought they were just absolutely outstanding. I'd probably say Marty and Phoenix is my number 2, which was just a great example of a great babyface and a great heel feuding with each other. And Okada, Omega, and Tanahashi, Naito, and Owens, Jericho being like the next runner-ups after that. Here's hoping in 2018 that we get that Gargano-Ciampa match, because I think that has a lot of potential to pay off and be an excellent feud and give us like a match of the year candidate. So here's hoping. But moving forward from there, we have my favorite weekly wrestling show of the year. What is my favorite episodic wrestling show? Well, I gotta give it to Lucha Underground. It's like I enjoy NXT, I enjoy Ring of Honor, but it's got to be Lucha Underground. Season 3 was amazing. When it came back and opened up with that all-night-long match between Johnny Mundo and the Mac, it's like, this is what I've been missing. This is what I've been... You know, they were on a hiatus for 5 months, and then you get that bit of awesomeness, and it's like, oh, heaven. Pure heaven. And you had the Cueto Cup, which took up a majority of the second half of the season, and then it closed out with 4 stellar editions of the Ultima Lucha series, and... outstanding stuff, and just week to week it was just a joy to watch, with all the build-ups, all the great matches, and all the great moments that really make Lucha Underground stand out. And as a show, it was just absolutely amazing, and thank God we're getting to season 4. But that brings me to my next category, brand of the year. I am going to give that to New Japan Pro Wrestling, which saw themselves break into the American market with their own shows in Long Beach, and more than likely getting ready to do more. Their audience has grown. They're becoming more and more successful. They're getting more and more attention. They're delivering outstanding main event after outstanding main event that's getting the world buzzing. And here we are. We're in the midst of their build-up to their big Tokyo Dome show, Wrestle Kingdom. And I am chomping at the bits to see Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega. The build-up to that has been amazing. And it feels like the biggest match in pro wrestling, and it's not even in the WWE. That's how big it is, and that's how amazing it feels right now that they were able to score that match. And New Japan has just been outstanding all year, and it really... They represent... It's so funny to me when WWE fans knock them and say, oh, it's just pure wrestling, and it's just boring, bland guys having matches, and that's all it is. And I'm like, fuck you. I think... guys like Omega and the Bullet Club and Naito and Okada and Tanahashi and even guys like Yano provide entertainment value to the show. And the feuds, the stories have beginning, middles, and ends. They don't overexpose their matches. I don't get sick of seeing these pairings. Again, Omega and Okada was their hottest series of matches this year. They had 3 of them spread out over the course of 8 months. Which, for New Japan, that feels like a lot and almost too much too soon. In WWE, that's like an eternity. They do all the little things right. In getting me to care about these wrestlers, getting me to care about their matches and their conflicts, and then delivering when it counts. And for that, for the growth of their brand, spreading out into the American market, I'm going to give New Japan Pro Wrestling the brand of the year, because they've made all the smart moves this year. And from there, we go into the best pay-per-view / special show of the year. And this one was very hard. Extremely difficult. The NXT TakeOver specials were great again, as expected. I think Chicago was the best one. Excellent show, especially because of its ending. I think New Japan delivered some great shows. Their two best ones were Wrestle Kingdom, of course, and Dominion, of course. It's really weird. Like, Wrestle Kingdom's outdone Wrestlemania, and I think Dominion has taken SummerSlam's place as my favorite show of the summer. It's weird. Then you have Aztec Warfare for Lucha Underground, which has replaced the Royal Rumble for me. So it's just like, yeah, you know, it's like there's guys out there doing WWE better than WWE. But in any case, speaking of Ultima Lucha, I thought Ultima Lucha Trace was outstanding for all 4 weeks. I thought it was a stellar show that ended with in an absolutely amazing way that's making me beg to see what happens in Season 4. Had a really hard time picking here, and as I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking about changing my mind, but I think I'm going to go with Dominion. New Japan's big show in the middle of the year. It featured an outstanding match between Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada in the main event that went to the hour-long draw. It featured the real burn-off, even though it wasn't their last match, the real burn-off between Tanahashi and Naito and their feud. It featured the burn-off to the Kushida-Takahashi feud for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title. And it was just an outstanding card all around. It was New Japan's best card all around. Great matches, great payoffs. What more can you ask? It was just an outstanding show. And, you know, Ultima Lucha Trace is definitely up there. NXT TakeOver Chicago is definitely up there. Wrestle Kingdom's definitely up there. But I think if you twisted my arm, I'm going to go with Dominion on being my favorite major pay-per-view event of the year. But that brings me to close this out with the match of the year, which, as I did with the worst of video, I'm going to do a top 10 here. The top 10 best matches of the year, my personal favorites. And it was so funny, I was putting together a list, and that list got super, super long. So I think I'm going to post the runner-ups in the description, but here are my top 10 favorite matches of the year. At number 10, we have Kazuchika Okada versus Minoru Suzuki for the IWGP the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship at New Beginning. Excellent match, and another excellent main event from Kazuchika Okada. What else is there to say? It was great. It's also good to see old man Suzuki can still go with that as well. So, number 9, Lucha Underground match. Johnny Mundo versus The Mac in the all-night-long match from the Season 3 mid-season premiere. The match that, you know, by that point, I was kind of done with WWE at that point. I was like, God, just give me anything to really excite me. And then I got that episode, and I'm like, this is what I want. This is what I want, just all of this. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. The Mac, by all appearances, is not a guy who should be able to have a match like this, but he worked perfectly, and the last, like, 30 seconds of that match, I was jumping up and down, and I was screaming, and I was on the edge of my seat. So they clearly did something right. So that's my number 9. Number 8. Tanahashi versus Naito from Dominion for the Intercontinental title. The real big feud ender for them. Nice payoff with Tanahashi getting revenge for Naito destroying the IC title belt after he won it from him in Wrestle Kingdom. Again, it's just, the story had a beginning, middle, and end. The heel got his comeuppance, and Tanahashi restored honor to the Intercontinental title. So, loved it, loved it, loved it, and I look forward to seeing what Tanahashi does with Jay White in the Tokyo Dome. So, here's hoping. Number 7. It's actually kind of a twofer. I'm going to say the main event to Ultima Lucha Trace, which was 2 matches. It was Prince Puma putting his career on the line, challenging Johnny Mundo for the Lucha Underground Championship. If the match had ended there, that would have been a great match worthy of this list, but then Dario Cueto comes out and announces, no, we've got another match. Pentagon Dark is cashing in his Gift of the Gods title to get his Lucha Underground title match in a career-ending match. It's like, Jesus Christ, we're going to lose Puma or Pentagon. No! But again, very dramatic, very well done, and that, I mean, really the whole last hour of Ultima Lucha Trace is one of the best hours of television that Lucha Underground has ever produced. And that whole main event sequence was expertly well done. If you don't believe that I was on the edge of my seat the whole time and I was just jumping up and down like a crazy person, go watch my live stream, which is somewhere in my video playlist. You know, watch that stream. You get to watch me react to all of that stuff. So that was really well done. Outstanding stuff, and I loved it. Number 6 is going to go to yet another Kazuchika Okada title match. This time against Shibata, which unfortunately put Shibata on the shelf as he got hurt during this match with a stiff headbutt. But Again, this really signifies how Okada just works differently with everybody, where he just had to work around Shibata's hard-hitting, stiff style and adapt his own to it. And it was an outstanding, exciting match that really, unfortunately, elevated Shibata greatly, even in defeat, but then he got put on the injured list. It's like, damn. New Japan lost a big one there, but he did make an appearance recently, so it looks like Shibata's going to be coming back, so here's hoping he comes back healthier and better than ever, but I thought that match was outstanding. Absolutely great stuff. Number 5, I'm going to go with Phoenix versus Marty the Moth Martinez in a mask versus hair match from Ultima Lucha Trace. This was on part 2. Again, it was just pure face versus heel. It was just, that's why it worked. It's like you had a baby face that you loved, standing up for the honor of the woman that he loved, and a couple that's actually not annoying. They're actually cute together. Going up against this heel that's been torturing them and has been this bloodthirsty psychopath throughout the entire build-up. And it got really violent and graphic at some points, but then that just made it all the more satisfying when Melissa Santos helped Phoenix get the win, and Marty got his comeuppance, and even got turned on by his own sister. So, great stuff all around. Love that match. It was just beautiful face versus heel, old school dynamics with that new school kind of grit and violence to it. So, excellent match. I loved it. And Marty the Moth doesn't get enough praise, but he's one of the best performers out there today, I think. He's absolutely stellar. And then we go to number 4. From NXT TakeOver Chicago, the main event for the NXT Tag Team Championship, DIY challenging the Authors of Pain. It was an excellent ladder match. I thought it was great stuff, the type of action you'd expect out of these guys. I think Authors of Pain fit in very well in situations like this as the bruiser tag team that just kill people. And I thought they did amazingly well here. But what really put it over the top for me, again, it's the little things. When they did that spot where Johnny Gargano took the ladder shot for Ciampa, and basically I described it as taking the wrestling equivalent of a bullet for your friend. And then Ciampa turned on him post-match after they had lost. I was so angry, and I was marking it. I was like, fuck you, you goddamn motherfucker. How dare you do that to Gargano? He's your friend, damn it. And if you can get me to mark out like that, then you did something right. It's like I like to feel things when I watch my stories. You know, War for the Planet of the Apes made me cry. Logan made me cry. Coco made me cry. Pixar, you really played unfair there at the end. That scene at the end, I'm like, you played so unfair. It's like, damn you. But I like to feel things when I watch my stories, and if you can piss me off with a turn like that, then you did something right. And it's got me even more excited for a Ciampa-Gargano match in 2018. I'm hoping we get it WrestleMania weekend. I think that could be a show stealer, match of the year caliber match, and I can't wait for it. But I know I'm praising a match for all the stuff that happened either after the match or it happened because of the match, but the match itself was a necessary component in getting that great stuff and getting that emotional reaction out of me. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important. So DIY versus Ciampa and Gargano, DIY versus Authors of Pain, that's my number 4 for match of the year. Number 3, I'm going to give it to Lucha Underground's best match of the year. I referenced it earlier, Killshot versus Dante Fox in the Hell of War match. Probably the best, 3 stages of hell match I've ever seen. The only other one that matches is Austin and Triple H from 2001, but wildly violent. It was hard to watch at points with the glass and the barbed wire and all the nasty things that they did to each other. But again, the story was still in place. The story, the build-up, the dispute between the two guys, and the ending in particular was so poetic. With Killshot using the beer bottle to knock Dante off the stage, who fell through 3 plates of glass, or 2 plates, or whatever it was. Looked like he was dead. And then Killshot with, sorrow in his face, a masked face, and I could read sorrow in his face, picked up his fallen comrade and carried him to the medical evac, and basically got to do what he wanted to do initially when they were serving together. He got to take his friend home. And he didn't get to do that when they were serving, but he got to do it here. And the crowd reaction to that was amazing, too, because they just went dead silent. Like this hushed silence after it had happened. And just one of those really weird, hauntingly beautiful moments that you rarely see in a professional wrestling match. But just great storytelling amidst all the wild, violent chaos. So I loved it. I thought they did an amazing job together. And that brings me to number 2 of the year. Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP World Heavyweight title from Wrestle Kingdom. Outstanding main event that reached next level stuff. And this was a huge make it or break it match for Kenny Omega. And he took the ball and ran with it as far as he could go. It was a huge performance for him. And again, it had the story of Kenny Omega trying to lock in, hit the One-Winged Angel, and he just couldn't do it. But you got the feeling if he hits it just once, it's over. So it didn't turn into a finisher fest, but it had that drama to it where it's like every time he went for the move, it was like, oh God, here we go. And he just couldn't hit it, and ultimately Okada got the win, but Omega was just made into an even bigger star than he was before after that match. Outstanding main event. One of the best championship matches I've ever seen. When I saw it, I said, easy match of the year. Nothing will top it. Turns out the only thing that could top it was the rematch, Okada versus Omega. I talked about it earlier with the big spot they did at the end, but the hour-long battle, the draw that these two had, might be the best hour-long match I've ever seen. And again, it's the simple thing they did with start fast, hot, and heavy, and then slow down as you get tired. That made it more dramatic to me. And again, I love the spot at the end with the failed Rainmaker attempt with Omega collapsing. I loved Cody Rhodes teasing that he was going to throw in the towel, hyping their previous drama, and it looks like we're going to get Cody versus Omega at some point. I thought it might happen at the Dome until they got this Jericho match, but he finally hit the One-Winged Angel on Okada, but Okada was too close to the ropes and was able to get his foot on it. A lot of little things they did that really made this match work, and it's probably, like I said, it might be the best one-hour match I've ever seen, and I loved it from start to finish. You can hold my attention for an hour. That says a lot. Because typically, they either start so slow that it's not until about the midway point that they start getting good, or I just kind of like, it's just too long and I just zone out. The great one-hour matches really do stand as classes, because to hold my attention for the duration of the entire match, you look at Flair and Steamboat 2, and I'll even throw Cena some credit, the Cena-Michaels match from that one episode of Raw. Some of the great Iron Man matches we've gotten. It's very hard to do. These two guys did it and may have been the best at doing that. So that is my pick for Match of the Year, and that is all I have for you in this video. So I guess the next time I see you guys will be in 2018. Got a lot of stuff I want to see in 2018. I want to see Braun Strowman become the WWE Champion. I want to see Gargano versus Ciampa. I want to see Mil Muertes versus Pentagon Jr. For the Lucha Underground Championship, maybe even as the main event to Ultima Lucha. A lot of interesting things waiting to happen. First Women's Royal Rumble, Vince McMahon possibly starting up another football league, which, okay. I think 2018 is shaping up to be a really good year, hopefully. Hopefully all the wrestling brands I like continue to be as good as they are. Hopefully all the wrestling brands I'm not high on get better. And that is it I got for you now. That's it. We're done. So y'all enjoy your holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Happy Hanukkah. Whatever you celebrate, you enjoy it. Have fun. The holiday season is a great time to celebrate with family and be happy. And just celebrate the best of humanity. And that's all. I wish that for every single one of you. But that is all I have for you now. Thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you next year.